My girlfriend went to her ex's birthday party without telling me. I found out from a tagged photo on social media. We had been together for 3 years, lived together for 2, and had just bought a house 6 months ago. The ex, a guy named Kevin, was a sore subject. She had sworn she cut all contact with him after he tried to interfere in our relationship a year back. Seeing her in that photo, smiling next to him with a group of his friends, felt like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just that she went to a party, it was that she was actively in contact with him and had been lying about it. I waited for her to come home. She walked in around 1 a.m., humming to herself, clearly in a good mood. I was sitting on the couch in the dark. I didn't turn on the lights. I just held up my phone with the picture displayed. Her smile vanished. "Where were you tonight, Kate?" I asked. She sighed. That dramatic. Put-up-in sigh she used when she felt she was being unfairly questioned. "I was out with the girls," she said. "Don't start." I just kept my eyes on her. "Try again." She finally dropped the act. "Okay, fine. I went to Kevin's birthday party. It wasn't a big deal." I asked her why she felt the need to lie about it, why she didn't just tell me. She crossed her arms and a little smirk played on her lips. "I didn't tell you because I knew how you'd react," she said, her tone dripping with condescension, as if I were a child she had to manage. The words hung in the air between us. She wasn't sorry she went, she was sorry she got caught. She wasn't apologizing for the lie, she was blaming me for it. I said nothing. I just looked at her, nodded slowly, and went to bed in the guest room. I didn't say another word. In her mind, she had won the argument. She probably thought I would sulk for a few days and then get over it like I had before. But as I lay in that guest bed, staring at the ceiling, I knew I was done. Her smirk wasn't an excuse, it was a confession. It confessed that she knew she was crossing a boundary, knew it would hurt me, and did it anyway. The next morning, I was up before her. I made my coffee and sat down at my laptop. Our biggest shared asset, our entire future together, was tied up in the house we had just bought. It was a beautiful 3-bedroom place in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place you settle down in. We were both on the title as joint tenants with right of survivorship. I looked through the digital copies of our closing documents. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm meticulous with paperwork. I found what I was looking for in the co-ownership agreement we had drafted with our lawyer, a section about dissolving the partnership. I sent a short email to the same lawyer who handled our closing, Mr. Davies. The subject was, "Consultation Request, Property Co-ownership." In the email I wrote, "Dear Mr. Davies, I am writing to request a private consultation regarding the property I co-own with Catherine Miller. I need to understand my options for dissolving our joint tenancy and forcing a sale of the property. Please let me know your availability for a call this week." I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Then I went about my day as if nothing was wrong. Kate came out a little later, acting cheerful and overly affectionate, her usual tactic for smoothing things over without actually apologizing. I was polite but distant. She didn't seem to notice. Mr. Davies' office called me back that afternoon. We scheduled a phone consultation for the next day. He was a straight shooter, no nonsense. I explained the situation briefly, leaving out the emotional details. I simply stated that the personal relationship had broken down and I wanted to sever our financial ties, starting with the house. "It's a clean break you're looking for then," he said. "There are a few ways to do this. You can offer to buy her out, she can offer to buy you out, or you can petition the court to force a partition sale, where the property is sold and the proceeds are split." I knew Kate couldn't afford to buy me out. I could barely afford it myself, and a new mortgage on a single income was out of the question. The sale was the only real option. Mr. Davies explained the process. The first step was a formal letter, sent via certified mail, outlining my intention to dissolve the co-ownership and proposing a buyout or a mutually agreed-upon sale. He said he could draft it for me. I gave him the go-ahead. He told me it would be ready by the end of the week. "This will likely get contentious," he warned. "Be prepared for that." I told him I was. For the rest of the week, I lived a double life. In the house, I was quiet and non-confrontational. I slept in the guest room, telling Kate I was coming down with a cold and didn't want to get her sick. She bought it. She seemed relieved to avoid any more difficult conversations. We coexisted like roommates. Outside the house, I was preparing for war. I opened a new bank account in my name only and started moving my personal savings into it. I took pictures of the house, documenting the condition of every room, just in case things got ugly. The certified letter from Mr. Davies arrived for her the following Tuesday. I was at work when she got it. My phone started buzzing incessantly around 11 a.m. It was Kate. I ignored the first 3 calls. Then a text came through. A letter from a lawyer? Are you f***ing kidding me? You're trying to kick me out of my own house? I didn't reply. She called a few more times, then sent a string of furious texts, calling me a coward, a drama queen, and 100 other things. When I got home that evening, she was waiting for me, the letter crumpled in her fist. Her face was red and splotchy from crying. "What is this?" she demanded, shoving the paper in my face. "Is this your reaction? Because I went to a party? You're gonna make me homeless over a stupid party?" I kept my voice calm. "It wasn't about the party, Kate. It was about you still talking to your ex after you promised you wouldn't. It was about you lying to my face, and it was about that smirk. You knew exactly what you were doing." I told her the letter was just a formality, the first step. "We can either agree to sell the house like adults, or we can let the lawyers and the courts decide. It's your choice." She stared at me, disbelief warring with anger in her eyes. She thought it was a bluff, a grand gesture to scare her into apologizing properly. "You wouldn't dare," she whispered. I didn't say anything. I just went to the guest room and closed the door. The next phase of her strategy was to enlist her family. Her older sister, Megan, called me the next day. Megan had always been Kate's biggest defender. "She told me what you're doing," Megan said, her voice sharp. "It's insane. You're throwing away a 3-year relationship because she saw an old friend. Don't you think you're overreacting just a little bit?" I had been prepared for this call. "Megan, with all due respect, you don't have the full story," I said calmly. "This isn't about just one party. She's been in contact with him for a while, and she's been lying about it." Megan scoffed. "Oh, please. Kevin is ancient history. She's not interested in him. She loves you." I took a deep breath. Then why did she send him a text message at 2:30 in the morning 2 weeks ago, saying she missed what they had? There was dead silence on the other end of the line. Kate and I had a shared plan for our tablet, an old iPad we kept in the living room for recipes and Netflix. Her iMessages were synced to it. I hadn't gone looking for anything, but when I picked it up to look up a movie the night after her party, the message was right there on the lock screen, a notification from Kevin B. with the preview text. "I miss what we had too. Last night was fun." The timestamp was from the night of the party, hours after she got home. I had taken a picture of the iPad screen with my phone. I told Megan, "I have a screenshot of it, Megan. She sent it from our living room while I was asleep in the next room, after she got back from his party." I could hear Megan's breath catch. She didn't say anything for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was completely different. "She told me you were being controlling and paranoid," she said quietly. She swore she hadn't spoken to him in a year. I didn't need to say anything else. "I'm sorry," Megan said. I need to go." And she hung up. That phone call was a turning point. Kate's primary ally had been neutralized with a single piece of evidence. I knew Megan would confront her, and I knew Kate would lie, but the seed of doubt was planted. The narrative of me being the crazy, overreacting boyfriend was now a lot harder to sell. Kate's behavior at home changed. The anger was replaced by a desperate, cloying sweetness. She started cooking my favorite meals, suggesting we go on dates, talking about our future as if that lawyer's letter had never arrived. It was a full court press of manipulation. I didn't fall for it. I remained polite, but I continued to sleep in the guest room, and I didn't engage with any of her attempts to pretend things were normal. I was just waiting for her formal response to the letter, which had a 30-day deadline. In the meantime, I started the process of separating our lives. I called the utility companies and had my name removed from the accounts that were in both our names. I went through the house and packed my personal belongings, books, clothes, memorabilia, into boxes and stored them neatly in the garage. She watched me do it, her eyes wide with a sort of panicked confusion. "What are you doing?" she asked one Saturday as I was taking down a framed photo of my college friends. Just getting organized, I said evenly. She didn't get a lawyer. She let the 30-day deadline on the letter pass without a formal response. She thought that if she ignored the problem, it would go away. She was wrong. The day after the deadline expired, I instructed Mr. Davies to file the partition action with the court. It was a simple legal procedure, but the act of filing it made everything real. A court date was set. A few weeks later, the social media front opened up. A mutual friend of ours, someone who was closer to her than to me, posted a photo from a weekend getaway. It was a group shot, and in the background, unmistakable, was Kate laughing with her arm around a guy. It wasn't Kevin. It was someone new. My first feeling was a surprising wave of relief. This was good. This would make things easier. But then my friend Mark called me. Dude, you need to see Kate's latest Instagram story. I didn't follow her anymore, but Mark sent me a screenshot. It was a picture of her and the new guy, looking cozy. The caption read, "So nice to be with someone who isn't insecure and controlling. Upgrades, people, upgrades." She had tagged the new guy. Mark was pissed on my behalf. She's trying to make it look like you were the problem and she's moved on to someone better, while she's still living in your house. I just laughed. Mark, this is the best thing she could have possibly done. He was confused. How? I explained. She's living in a house that's the subject of a court-ordered sale. She's flaunting a new relationship online. A judge is going to see her as someone who isn't taking the legal or financial situation seriously. She's making my case for me. I saved a screenshot of the post. It was another piece of evidence. Not for the court case about the house, which was purely financial, but for the court of public opinion among our friends. It showed she wasn't heartbroken. She was vindictive. It made her previous stories about me being a monster seem a lot less credible. The court date was a formality. Kate showed up, this time with a lawyer she had clearly hired at the last minute. Her lawyer tried to argue for a continuance, saying they needed more time. The judge looked at the timeline, saw that Kate had ignored the initial certified letter for over a month, and denied the request. Mr. Davies presented our case. We were co-owners, the personal relationship was over, and I had made a good faith offer to resolve the matter privately, which was ignored. He requested the court order the sale of the property. Kate's lawyer argued that she would face undue hardship if she were forced to move. The judge asked Kate about her financial situation. She had to admit she couldn't afford to buy me out. The judge then looked at me. "Mr. My last name, are you in a position to buy out Miss Miller?" I said, "No, Your Honor. That's why I am requesting a sale so we can both retrieve our equity and move on." The judge nodded. "The law is very clear on this. The property will be sold. You two have 60 days to list it with a licensed real estate agent. If you cannot agree on an agent or a price, the court will appoint one for you. The proceeds will be held in escrow until they can be divided equally." He banged the gavel. It was over in 15 minutes. Kate walked out of the courtroom without looking at me. Her new lawyer was trying to talk to her, but she was just staring straight ahead, her face pale. The smugness was gone. The reality of the situation had finally hit her. She wasn't just losing a boyfriend she could manipulate, she was losing her home. The next few weeks were tense. We had to agree on a realtor. I presented her with a list of 3 of the top agents in our area. She refused to respond. After a week, I emailed her, copying both lawyers. "Kate, if you do not choose one of these 3 agents or provide an alternative by the end of the week, I will inform the court that we cannot reach an agreement, and they will appoint a receiver to handle the sale, which will incur extra fees that will come out of our proceeds." She chose one the next day. I moved out of the house the following weekend. I rented a small apartment across town. The day I moved my last box, I left my key on the kitchen counter with a note. "The realtor Susan will be in touch to discuss staging and showings. Please cooperate with her." About 2 weeks after I moved out, a month after the court date, my phone rang. It was Kate. Her voice was small, shaky. It was the voice she used when she wanted something. "Can we talk?" she asked. "I'm at the house." I was at my new apartment, unpacking my last box of books. "There's nothing to talk about, Kate. We communicate through our lawyers now." She started to cry. "Please," she sobbed. I made a mistake, a huge mistake. I was scared and stupid. I miss you. I miss us. Kevin was nothing. That other guy was nothing. It was all a mistake. Can I please just see you? I was quiet for a moment. I could hear the desperation in her voice. The game was over and she had lost. She was trying to hit the reset button to go back to a time when her tears could solve any problem. I'm not coming over, Kate, I said, my voice gentle but firm. It's too late for this, she cried harder. It's not too late. I can fix this. I'll do anything. I love you. I took a deep breath. Kate, you said you didn't tell me about the party because you knew how I'd react. She was quiet, just sniffling. You were right to be worried about my reaction. You just completely misunderstood what it would be. You thought my reaction would be to yell or argue or break up with you in a dramatic fight. You thought it would be something you could manage, something you could talk your way out of. I continued. But my real reaction wasn't any of that. My reaction was the email I sent to Mr. Davies the next morning. My reaction was the partition lawsuit. My reaction was packing my boxes and signing a lease on a new apartment. My reaction was me, moving on with my life, quietly and completely. You were so busy waiting for the explosion, you didn't even notice the foundation being removed from under you. When you tried to come back, you realized I'd already reacted in the only way that mattered. There was a long, stunned silence on her end of the line. I could hear her trying to process what I had said. She finally whispered, "So that's it? It's just over?" "It's been over for weeks, Kate," I said. "You just didn't want to see it." I hung up the phone. I looked around my new living room. It was smaller than the house, but it was all mine. It was quiet. A few minutes later, she sent one last text. "I hate you." I blocked her number. The house sold a month later for a good price. The money was wired to my new bank account. The silence was perfect.